does it take to design, install, and maintain a rain garden? To help us answer that question, we brought in a couple of experts. Michael Dietz is the director of the Connecticut NEMO program at UConn, and David Dixon, the director of the National NEMO program. Gentlemen, welcome to Connecticut Style.
Thank you.
First, David, tell us what the NEMO program's all about. We're not talking a movie here.
We're not talking the kids movie. NEMO stands for Nonpoint Education for Municipal Officials, which is a mouthful.
It is.
Basically, it's a program of UConn Extension and Connecticut Sea Grant that works with communities on protecting water quality through land use planning and site design. So basically how you design your community and how you design your yard.
Got it. Okay, now, Michael, you're going to tell us exactly what a rain garden is. I'm not too familiar with it.
Sure. It's very simply just a depression in the landscape that's designed to take water that falls on buildings, or like rooftops, driveways, other impervious surfaces, and takes that water and lets it sink back into the ground. So instead of letting that water run off into our stormwater system, where it causes lots of problems downstream, it lets that water sink down where it did before all that development was there. So that's the basic idea. Besides that, it looks really nice with nice plants.
I mean, we're going through some video right now. I guess, David, if you will, explain to me the importance of it.
Sure.
I'm sorry,
Go ahead,
Michael.
Sure. We get confused all the time.
Can't figure out why. Go ahead.
So the basic idea is trying to mitigate some of the effects of the development that's happened across the landscape. So yesterday we had a lot of rain here. So in New Haven, for example, over an inch and a half of rain fell. So on this particular building that we're in right now, in the parking lot that's right outside it, 42,000 gallons of water fell with that rainstorm yesterday.
Wow.
So where does that go?
That's a great question.
So that's a lot of water, and it has to go somewhere. In our bigger cities, it goes into a combined sewer system, so that it goes to the sewage treatment plant. And during the summertime, when you've heard of beach closures from bacteria problems, that's what is causing that, so these large overflows. So any way we can keep water out of that system, that's a real benefit.
And Michael, do you need a lot of space to have these?
Not necessarily. So for some of the larger ones in the cities that you'll see, they do take up quite a bit of space if you're trying to treat a large area like this building. But for an average homeowner rain garden, they might be 100 square feet or so, so like 10 feet by 10 feet. So they don't have to be that big.
All right, well, let's talk about some of the plants we could have in the rain garden. You have some examples here. What are we looking at?
Well, in general, there are a couple characteristics that we look for in rain garden plants. So first, they should be native to this area, so they don't need a lot of extra care once they're established. We don't want high maintenance plants. So we don't want plants that are going to need a lot of extra fertilizer, extra water.
Amen.
So these, once they're established, they're good to go. You don't really need to do much for them.
Got it.
So starting on the left-hand side there, we have a shrub called winterberry. So you can't really see the red berries on there now, but in the late summer and fall, those berries will form and they'll stay on there all winter. It'll look really nice through the winter. It'll also provide benefit for wildlife, some food for the wildlife.
Okay.
The next one in is ironweed. So that one has a real pretty flower in the midsummer.
Oh, good.
So a little bit of green now, but does have a pretty flower. Next one in is a switchgrass. So a lot of people have ornamental grasses in their yards, and this is very similar to that. It does have real nice winter color, some winter appeal. And the last one on the right is lowbush blueberry. So again, a little bit of wildlife benefit with those blueberries that come on there in late summer.
Got it. All right, Mike, we have a video that we're going to take a look at, but how do you install one of these?
Well, there's a lot of planning that will go in ahead of time. So not every site is perfect for a rain garden, and we have some tools to help people make sure they're picking the right spot.
Okay.
So this little video is showing you some of the things that you need ahead of time, and the time lapse will start here in just a second. So this particular one went in at our extension office last summer.
Oh, cool, look at this.
So the grass gets stripped off the top first, and then we're going to excavate down a little bit of a depression in the landscape, so about 7 or 8 inches deep.
Okay.
Now we're taking some of those stones and allowing the water to get into the garden, then lay out the plants.
What a great
Dig the plants
idea.
in, and there goes the mulch, and that's it.
Now, this really isn't a new idea, is it?
It's been around probably since the 1990s. It started down in Maryland as part of a larger approach called low impact development.
Got it. All right, David, tell me about this app. It's free.
Sure, it is a free app. So far, it's only available for iPhones, but we have an Android version that should be coming out hopefully in a couple weeks.
Okay.
But the basics of the app is it walks you through everything about how to design, install, and maintain a rain garden. And so there's basic information that you can flip through what they are, how they work, some of the stuff that Mike already talked about a little bit, as well as examples. There's also a series of videos in here where starring Mike Dietz that sort of show you, through explanatory videos how these things are done. There's a design section that shows you how to determine if your soils in your location are good for a rain garden, because not all soils are good. They have to be able to soak in that rainwater.
And how do you determine that, really?
Well, there's a soils map in here
so there is.
where you basically just click on your location. I don't know if it'll work. It probably won't work in here, but if you just hit the locate button,
It tells you?
it tells you, shows you where you are, just like on your phone, any locate feature, and it shows you what kind of soils you have there, so you can know if it's good for a rain garden or not.
Great.
And again, there's another video there. There's also the size of the rain garden depends on how big the area is that's draining into it.
Okay.
And
this is
so,
really step by step, huh?
yeah, we really tried to think of everything that people would need to sort of really do this. And so there's a sizing calculator. You can just put in the parameters, and it'll tell you how big the garden needs to be. Or there's a map where you can just sort of tap sort of on your roof line, and then hit calculate, and it'll tell you how big that area is and how big your rain garden needs to be.
Now I see a cost calculator. Is this a pricey project?
It depends.
What you're-
It's not that expensive. It's just like putting in any garden that you would put in your yard, pretty much. But you do have to dig down, and that can take a lot of person power.
Sure.
So if you don't
A
have
lot
that,
of
you may need
labor.
to hire somebody to do that part of it. So depending on what features you
Decide
have
to
in
put
there,
in there, right?
Right, and what plants you use. So
Should
yeah,
I
you
go
can go
home?
back home. Yeah,
Yeah, this
sure.
is pretty cool.
And then everyone's favorite part. Well, this is the install. This sort
Okay,
of
go
shows
ahead.
you
Show
how
me
to install
everyone's
it.
favorite part.
But everyone's favorite part is the plant selector. And this is how you can really design what your rain garden looks like.
Oh, cool.
So you can select the types of plants, like we have a variety of plants over here, so we can select some perennials, some shrubs, and some grasses. Go back out, select what kind of sun exposure you get where the rain
Sure.
garden is, because you want to make sure that they're going to be able to survive that kind of exposure. And then you can really get into it and pick out what colors you want in your garden.
Wow, that's impressive stuff.
So it's a lot of different things, and then you can just select it, and it brings up all the plants that then meet those criteria, and you can select which ones you want to add to your garden.
That's incredible.
And then take that to your nursery and pick out the plants you
I'm
want.
going to plant a rain garden. That's
Do it. Right,
awesome.
do it.
You guys are also WX Edge contributors. So does that mean we could find articles online there or
Yes.
all the information?
Yep. There's an article about rain gardens specifically, and about the app on the WX Edge site.
We'll find it there. All the information on the screen, wxedge.com. Of course, you can get there from logging on to WTNH.com. Interesting stuff. Michael, David, thanks so much for being here.
Thanks,
Thanks,
Jason.
Lisa.
All right, stay with us. More Connecticut Style after the break. We'll be right back. That's pretty cool.